If you're interested in learning more about BetAngel, its tools and the opportunities they present, then why not visit betangel.com today and download a free trial.
Fantastic weather for the Grand National today. I hope that's translated into the markets. My wife took all the kids to a theme park, stayed there overnight, just so I could have a full-on session basically for the last 48 hours. And everything's going pretty fine. Masters have been okay. Bit of a surprise with Dustin Johnson and his late withdrawal. That did not help. That was not helpful. But Aintree traded all right. It's always a bit funny on Thursday, Friday. Had a good Thursday, naff Friday. Hoping for a really good day today. I've been carrying my phone around with me when I've been out today. Had my hair cut. I'm out for a walk now. But I can't leave the markets alone for a second because of the amount of money I'm trying to put through the Grand National. So I have to actively manage that. So I'm using a VPS on my iPhone to keep an eye on that and make any amendments as necessary as I'm walking around. But yeah, it should be a good day. I mean, the weather's fine. Bring a few people out, a couple more quid on the National, and hopefully we can all benefit from that. Anyway, looking forward to it. So I've reached the office, and it's always funny going into the office because I'm the only one here on a Saturday, but it's really important for me to, let me just open the door, and the alarm's going off. But it's really important for me to come to the office where I can have absolutely no distractions. So I have the same setup here as I do at home, and the advantage of doing that is that obviously I can switch locations very easily, which is what I've done, but obviously less distractions here, especially on a Saturday. I'm very satisfied with the day's work. It could have gone better. When Betfair had problems with streaming, the streaming was lagging. We managed to diagnose it real time, give some feedback to Betfair. But unfortunately on one of those races I dumped some money because I was looking at the wrong P&L, which was a right pain. But I still managed to get a good result anyway, so it didn't really matter. Not my best ever Grand National result, but not a bad one. I think anybody would be quite happy with the total that I managed to pull out of the Grand National. And so now I'm going to start analysing all the data, have a look and see what happens, see if I can do better next year. So yeah, it was a busy day. I had sort of hoped maybe to get a bit of footage of me during the day, but it was just too busy, too much going on. And with the Masters and everything else and all of the activity around the Grand National being later in the day than it has been a few years ago, it was pretty hectic. But I thought I'd give you a quick appraisal anyway and give you some level of contrast as to what we've seen this year against last year. The interesting thing about this year is the markets were generally pretty stable. We didn't see any dramatic moves, and if you contrast that to last year, the markets were a little bit wild. Never really got to the bottom of why the markets were so crazy last year, but it was a pain because last year I was in and out of positions repeatedly, constantly trying to build a decent position, whereas this year actually it was a case of slow and steady wins the race. Entered the market very early, started trading it quite some time out, and just gradually kept managing those positions, and then obviously things started to speed up as we got closer and closer and closer, and then we got into the last hour and things went crazy. But if you're interested in the volume, because that obviously dictates how much you can push through the market, have a look at the following graph. This is how volume arrived at the Grand National over the course of the day. And in the early part of the day it was doing about £300,000 an hour, and obviously that got bigger as we got towards the actual start of the race itself. I actually exited the race about 5 minutes before the off, simply because I didn't want to hang around and be panicking to get out before the race started. So I may have been able to push it a little bit harder, but I didn't. I had a good total, so I thought, oh, you know what, I'll just take that and grab a nice clean screenshot and move on from there. And the disappointing thing was actually that the numbers were down a bit. If you look at the average numbers that we've done on the Grand National over a number of years, the numbers this year actually fell a little bit. So that made me think, when I saw that maybe, you know, if there was more liquidity in the market, I may have actually got a much better total. And so that was a little bit disappointing. The other thing that was disappointing is we did have an issue with the Betfair API stream, and that sort of knocked my confidence for a little bit. But as with everything, I have a backup plan. So in fact, for the Grand National, I had streaming and non-streaming versions working, and I had all of my equipment in full backup mode in case there were any last minute problems, because the volume I was going to do would be significant. Better that I do it in the safest mode possible. So yeah, I can't remember if it was on the day or the day before or something. I actually posted my 2007 P&L, and I was going for the Grand on the Grand in 2007, and I fell just short of it, which was really annoying at the time, because I knew that that was the best opportunity to do it with the amount of liquidity in the market. So how did I do 10 years later? Absolutely thrashed it. But you would of course expect that, because I'm much more practiced now, and I know how the market's going to behave, and I've collected data over a number of years, so pretty much nailed it, although I felt that maybe I could have done a little bit better and maybe could have pushed it a little bit harder. But there were, you know, it's easy to say that in hindsight. During the day itself, many things going on, and of course we had the API issue that was brief but nonetheless sort of made you slightly less confident about what you were doing. And as a consequence, you know, you realize that perhaps, you know, maybe you could actually take it a little bit higher next year. So yeah, 2018, I will not be going to Aintree to watch the Grand National. I'll be back behind my desk trading it.